Peak is an interesting brand that effectively has existed nearly 3 decades in the market. The original owner, Per Christofferson, was a carpenter, joiner, very talented, who started making cabinets for loudspeakers that he bought himself he felt weren't good enough. So he started going, okay, I like the sound of these things, but the cabinet's rubbish. So he started making his own cabinets. That developed into making some for some of his customers. They liked the designs. He went down the route of expanding, but this was always using drive units and crossovers that existed. That developed a little bit further with Peak, where he started dabbling with his own 100% designs to off-the-shelf drivers and tweaking crossovers. The forte and expertise of Peak Console is really the cabinets. The cabinets are unbelievably well made. 50 millimeters minimum depth, lots of resonance control, multi-layers. We use 3 layers of MDF 12 mil glued together with 2 types of glue that you could never pull apart, but actually never fully set. So when you tap them, there's a resonance, a dynamic damping control in there.
It's a constrained layer?
Yes, exactly that. That's the inner case. And then on the outer case, you have another 14 mil of solid, either walnut or Venge panels glued that acts as another damping control, but also then adds the aesthetic beauty to it. The cabinet is something that is very special, but using very traditional methods. And one of the things that Per realized was using natural materials, wool for the damping on the inside. Natural materials just have a natural resonance to them that just allow the loudspeaker to sound better. Per, enthusiast, but not actually that commercially minded, to be fair to him. And he was looking for maybe to step back a little bit. And Wilfred Ehrenholz, the chap that built Dynaudio from nothing, driving around with drive units in the back of his car to the global brand that it is, he sold Dynaudio 10 years ago. Got bored of his boat and his cars, absolute passionate music lover, built loudspeakers when he was 14 years old, wanted to get back into the industry, but wanted to do it slightly differently. He had the itch, and he had to scratch that itch. With the fact that Dynaudio was so predominantly based in Skanderborg, he had a lot of connections within Denmark. Discovered through one of his ex-employees that there was a company that might be up for sale, Peak. He made some inquiries, went down, had a look at the cabinets, thought, yeah, this is a little bit different to the norm. Started doing some more investigation and inquiries, and effectively, with his business partner, Leonard Asborn, bought it 3 years ago. Leonard is an audiophile who knew Peak, owned a pair, but actually is a Michelin star qualified chef, had a very successful catering business and sold it. Obsessive compulsive about detail, about ingredients, so he's actually the CEO, so he's in charge of the factory. So having someone with that mindset is really good, because it allowed Wilfred to stay based in Hamburg. This is only a passion project. He doesn't want to build another Dynaudio. This is about making the very best loudspeakers he can. That's it. He didn't want the pressure and responsibility of running and growing another business, so that's where Leonard handles the day-to-day of the manufacturing. But behind the scenes, Wilfred is the designer, and he is responsible for all the new designs, because they're all new since the last 3 years. So the two of them bring in a huge amount of experience into this brand. So one of the challenges we have is to change the perception of what many people think of as they know Peak Consult. Well, they might have known it 3+ years ago, but they don't know the product now. It looks similar, but in terms of sound quality and the approach, it's really, really quite different. Per's strengths were the cabinets. This is what made the cabinets. What he could take was fairly conventional components and turn them into something special. It was the cabinet. What's incredible now is you still take that incredible cabinet construction philosophy and all the experience of working with natural materials, and then add the X factor of someone who built a company who knows drive units and crossover design, and you combine the two of those, and now you have a recipe where we can make product with no limitation. And this is in fact something I asked Wilfred before I joined the company. I said, Dynaudio was your baby. I said, but what were the issues? He said, the issues I had there was bill of materials, always limited ultimately what I could do with components. And I had a team of engineers that I sort of had to let them get on with designing. He said, these weren't not my personal designs. We were making product that were commercially correct. This isn't that at all. So I have all the experience of Dynaudio, but this is a very, very different approach. So we take everything that is very good about the cabinet design, and there are a huge amount of strengths with that. So that didn't really need changing. What it needed was the icing on the cake, which was incredible drive unit technology and the crossover design. Not so much the ingredients, it was the recipe at the end. So the focus of the new Peak is the sound. What are we actually trying to achieve with the sound? And that's the biggest difference, is the sound balance changed. And rather than be impressive, there's a lot of loudspeakers out there that are very impressive, deep bass, soundstage, tick a lot of audiophile boxes. Wilfred came at this with a very, very clear vision. When he sits in front of a loudspeaker, there's only two things that loudspeaker, that hi-fi system, should do. Number one is he should actually close his eyes and believe there are artists playing in front of him. And number two, he should feel he's in the same room as those artists. They're the two things that, if he's done his job correctly, that's what a loudspeaker should do. So taking something as big as a Dragon Legacy and making it sound like a small two-way bookshelf takes a lot of know-how. All the years of experience with drive units, with crossovers, with what needs to be done to get multiple drivers sound like a single point source. This is now where we are with Peak. We're taking that philosophy and putting them into unbelievably solid, resonance-free cabinets. In the past, where Wilfred had a bill of materials to work towards, or the company with Dynaudio, as every brand generally does, to hit a price point. We use a particular resistor. It's a graphite, high-end graphite resistor. And this resistor is, for just one, is over 50 euros. There are many loudspeaker brands where both their crossovers cost that amount. And we're using one of these. And we use a lot of them in each pair. If we were to actually look at bill of materials, that a lot of the conventional brands would never use these components because they're way too expensive. The reason, quite simply, they just sound incredible. So really, you have somebody who has all the experience of building an internationally well-known loudspeaker brand, and the shackles have been taken off. This is absolutely a passion project. He's making every single one of these for himself. So Sonora, Sinfonia, El Diablo, Dragon Legacy, these are loudspeakers that he wants to own and have in his house himself. If they don't meet his criteria of listening to an incredible performance, then he's not interested. And he won't be dictated to by the market, or he's got a very clear vision of what he wants to achieve with Peak. So there's a big difference with the old company and the new company.
Yeah.
We use ScanSpeak in HF, the HF models, but done to our design. So again, Wilfred's come in and actually having...
So they're not off-the-shelf units, they're custom?
All custom. Every drive unit is custom in that, because that's what he brought. What he brought immediately was the ability to go and have a chat with our suppliers and say, actually, can you tweak this? Can you tweak that? So every new model for the last 3 years have custom drivers. So we have two suppliers, both based in Denmark. The Dragon Legacy, they all come from one supplier, and currently the Sonora, Sinfonia, El Diablo, shed from two. These are not off the shelf. They might look similar to other designs out there, but the devil's in the detail. You know, this is the voice coil, for instance, the voice coil former on the bass driver for the Dragon Legacy is made of titanium, done for its lightweight and stiffness. It's not used in any other drive unit. These are made specifically for us, so we've had to buy a batch of these drive units because they're, again, not off the shelf.
Yeah.
This is the experience that Wilfred's bringing into the brand now, and this is where we're elevating the performance so quickly with addressing this area of the design. From my understanding, they're all second-order crossovers, but his objective is to make every loudspeaker, regardless of how many drive units, sound like one drive unit. The components are actually soldered to each other. We don't use a PCB because a PCB resonates. They are soldered to each other, mounted with like a black glue, anti-resonance, on a piece of MDF. You have the LF section, mid-range tweeters, all on separate boards, mounted in one of the chambers inside the loudspeaker. That chamber is then filled completely with sand. So the sand not only adds density and weight to the overall loudspeaker, but it actually reduces the microphonic effect of when you're playing anything loud, the energy going back into the loudspeaker and the energy coming in via the amplifier through the loudspeaker cables, because you have two directions of vibration coming in, what's generated by the drivers and what's generated coming in. So every single Peak loudspeaker has its crossover embedded in sand. It is 0.3 mil to 1 mil in size, and it's the kind of sand that's used for bead blasting in the automotive industry. The reason is because they did experiments on different types of sand, and quite simply this sounded the best. So the process of using the materials always comes back to the same thing. How does it sound? We're not a brand that is being sold on our technology. It's about the performance. That's the most important thing, is the emotional connection that you have with the product. And a good case in point is we don't really want to actually show the frequency response, because the frequency response of a loudspeaker tells you nothing about how a product really sounds. It just tells you how deep it goes and you know, the line from 2 points, and phase coherence is something that he is obsessive about. Having phase coherent loudspeaker systems is really, really important. So there's a lot of work done to make sure that when you hear the piano or the kick drum or the snare or, you know, whatever is being played, it sounds like reality. And actually, interesting point, music, what does he use as reference? Well, Wilfred uses predominantly jazz and classical because they're real instruments, and the recording qualities, you can tell what a violin is. Using rock and pop isn't a great reference point for making a loudspeaker that you know, you can enjoy over a wide variety of music. The overall strategy of the brand isn't to be another Dynaudio. It's not to be a certain size. Yes, it's important to be commercially viable and sell loudspeakers, but the focus of the brand is all about selling the absolute best performing loudspeakers to a very discerning clientele base. How big the brand becomes, actually, we don't know. We think it can be very successful because we're doing things differently to everyone else. So the focus is definitely not about building another big corporate company. Wilfred's done that. He's not interested. This is very much keep it sort of small, tight, and creating incredible designs. So Peak is it won't be on every retailer's door. We will be very, very exclusive with the representation of this brand across the world. In some markets, we may only have one retailer representing Peak, or two at most. So it's really important that whoever sells it, represents it, does it justice.